Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this deck is brought to you by CardTrader.com. CardTrader is an international buying and selling card marketplace where you can find whatever you need. We'll talk more about them later. And the deck I'm playing is Grixis Tempo. This deck historically has been called Grixis Delver, but you'll notice Delver of Secrets not appearing here. There is a split in the lists I was looking at of whether you play Nethergoyf or Tamiyo. Nethergoyf hits harder, Tamiyo draws cards and gives you a different kind of pivot engine to draw half your deck versus decks that don't apply pressure. I've been playing a lot of Tamiyo, so I chose a list with Nethergoyf, and this does materially change how the deck plays. A 1-mana 4/5 versus a 1-mana 0/2 that with some work draws some cards is a very different play pattern. Don't be fooled if you're just picking up lists trying to try stuff out, if you're new to Legacy, if you don't have a lot of reps. Like, this is actually a big change, this one slot being different. What doesn't change, though, is Wasteland, Daze, Brainstorm, Force of Will, Efficient Threats. This is the Delver shell. This shell always has somebody near the top of the metagame, if not 2 or 3 different versions of decks. Right now, Dimir is very popular. Dimir Reanimator is the #1 deck. Dimir Tempo is a deck you can play, which is basically this deck without the red cards. Which leads us into the next conversation. Why are we playing red cards? If you can play Tempo, Aggression with only 2 colors, why add a third? And you'll notice Lightning Bolt not in this deck. Lightning Bolt does not line up against Psychic Frog. I mentioned 2 or 3 months ago, however long we've had Psychic Frog in our lives. I guess it's probably closer to 4 months now. Time flies when you're having fun, right? I mentioned the first time I played with and against this card that Lightning Bolt might be pushed out of decks that historically have hung their hat on Lightning Bolt, and it seems that premonition has come true. You have to kill Psychic Frog in this format. Lightning Bolt doesn't do it. That's one of the main reasons to be red. Now we have Unholy Heat, 2 Molten Collapse, Dragon's Rage Channeler, and some sideboard cards. The real reason to be red is Dragon's Rage Channeler. These Tempo decks are all about getting tons of tiny decisions. You see tons of cards. You can sculpt and find what you need more efficiently than any other deck. And Dragon's Rage Channeler just gives kind of a +1 roll for the D&D players out there, a +1 roll on all your cantrips. Now Ponder, instead of seeing 3 cards, sees 4. Brainstorm sees 4. Even Daze and Brazen Borrower see 1 when you cast the Petty Theft part. Just a +1 advantage on all of your card selection. In addition to fueling your graveyard like a boss, which is important when Nethergoyf cares about the number of card types in your graveyard. Murktide Regent is a card in this deck. Not every Tempo deck is playing Murktide Regent anymore, but this one can support it because it has Dragon's Rage Channeler. Psychic Frog, being able to jump this thing, get evasion, keep the cards flowing without losing Delirium for Channeler, without losing card types from Nethergoyf. The more cards in your graveyard, the easier that becomes. Dragon's Rage Channeler is really why this deck is playing red. And of course, in the sideboard, we've got a couple of Pyroblast and a Red Blast. Those help answer Psychic Frog, and Jeskai Control kind of starting to come back. Narset, big part of the metagame that hasn't been in a while. We're on top of that. A bunch of cards for Eldrazi, 2 Harbinger of the Seas, 3 Consigned to Memory. I gotta shout out these Harbinger of the Seas, though. This list has 0 basics, not in the main nor in the side. And you can play a mono blue game plan, or I guess you can imagine having your Dragon's Rage Channeler or Nethergoyf already in play when you play Harbinger. But once this is down, you're only casting cantrips, Brazen Borrower, and Murktide until this is answered. So that's something you do have to think about. There's no setting up for this other than being on board already when you stick it. But that shows respect for Eldrazi in the metagame, that we're willing to nuke our own lands for the rest of the game to do the same to them. And that's what's going on here. This is mostly just Grixis Delver that we've all been playing with and against in various forms for 12 years now. 13 years now. But this is the current take on it, brought to you by CardTrader.com. Let's get into these games. For this video, I partnered with CardTrader.com, the international card game marketplace that features the innovative CardTrader Zero shipping system. CardTrader functions as your personal P.O. box, gathering your order from different sellers around the world and sending it to you in a single shipment. With international shipping simplified for buyers, the market for sellers expands too. Buy and sell Magic, Pokemon, Flesh and Blood, Yu-Gi-Oh!, as well as niche games. Find what you're looking for from all corners of the world. I made an order from a diverse group of sellers to try it out. Check out this order from America, Italy, and Switzerland. The update page makes it clear where everything is throughout the consolidation process, and once your order's in hand, they ship it out in a single package, and you're done. I used CardTrader Zero. I ordered from 4 different sellers in 3 different countries. I paid 1 shipping cost. I had 1 package show up to my house. That package had 1 CardTrader envelope in it, and that envelope had my order. All the cards I ordered from around the world in 1 little package with the CardTrader Zero security seal, ready to ride safe and sound to me. If you want to buy or sell trading cards around the world, try CardTrader.com and their innovative CardTrader Zero shipping system. I'm on the play in round 1 versus Yorion. Seen a lot more Yorion taxes in the queues lately. Gonna have to mulligan this hand with no colored mana. I will keep this. This is both Mishra's Baubles that I play. I get to see a lot of cards here, but they do need to be good. And I am a little worried because Death and Taxes historically is built to farm decks like mine. Unfortunately, I think every card in my hand is important, which means I'm probably going to bottom a Mishra's Bauble. Because Murktide Regent is one of the ways that you finish off the fair decks. And my list, you'll notice, only 2 Murktide Regents. We had a long conversation about 0 Lightning Bolt. The plan to do early damage to Death and Taxes, then burn them out at the end, is not on the table. Yeah, I think I have to keep this and bottom one of the Baubles. And I have to... Do I have to play around Wasteland, or do I just fetch into it? I think I just fetch into it. Because I can play around Wasteland by leaving this Flooded Strand in play, or I can ponder and try to find more lands more quickly. Okay, land Daze, that's the good stuff. I'll put Daze in my hand. I'm going to bauble and draw the land, and then I'm drawing Nethergoyf next turn. Ajani Nakatl Pariah is the card they're drawing. I've locked up a play with the Nethergoyf, even if they do Wasteland me, that's good. Flooded Strand. For basic planes, Aether Vial. Boy, do I hate that, but I'm not going to daze it. I think getting Psychic Frog in is where I want to be in life. My hand is all black right now. There are 7 total red cards in my deck. I'm playing against a known mana denial strategy. I'm just going to play the Dimir game for a minute until I'm convinced to do something else. They're cracking a fetch land. I'm prepared to daze this thing now. Trying to get between my Psychic Frog and their face. I'm not interested. Double Fatal Push. Good place to be. Frog gets a draw here. Ooh. I was gonna say I could just ram this Murktide and try to get the job done. I can also now ram a backup Psychic Frog. I could play Nethergoyf, leaving up Fatal Push, which if they sneak a Mother of Runes in might be really important. I think I'm gonna go second Frog. Keep the train rolling here. Punished immediately. Hopefully the Frogs attacking will get them activating Mom defensively, and then I could dance around the activations with Fatal Push. A Wasteland. Used to cast a spell. Alright. Lion Sash is up. I would really like to just shove Murktide Regent here, but I don't think I'm going to get the ability to do that. I think I'm just going to attack first before I do anything else. If they activate Lion Sash, I can jump Frog, exiling whatever they target. If they just block, I can beat them in combat. Oh yeah, they're just letting the Frogs in. Ooh, this is probably Spirit of the Lab. Is that what's about to happen? I might want to brainstorm now before it's too late, or I'm just committed to double Fatal Push. I guess I'm just committed to double Fatal Push. I'm actually going to Fatal Push the Mother of Runes first, because if they try to save Spirit in response, then I get them both. If they just tap Mother to protect herself, that's the same thing as if I had targeted Spirit twice. Just gives them an opportunity to mess up. I basically just spent 2 cards to... Or I spent 1 card to draw 2 cards, because I got one of their cards off one of them, the other was just stuffed. They're eating my Mishra's Bauble in response. That's fine. Hold up Brainstorm, add to the board. I'm going to add to the board. And playing Nethergoyf into a face-up Lion Sash has its own problems, but having this creature on board looks good to me. I can manipulate the number and type of cards in my graveyard very quickly with Psychic Frog. Okay, they are going main phase here. I can jump Frog in response to keep Lion Sash small. I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Exile the 2 lands and one of the many instants. That was just going to happen anyway. And if I could keep their creature smaller than Nethergoyf, then I get a good attack where I might otherwise not get one. Right, exiling Ponder, that's fine. That doesn't make Lion Sash bigger. Arid Mesa, that can make Lion Sash bigger. Fetch, activate. They can target their own graveyard. Nethergoyf only counts mine. It's not a proper Lurgoyf. That's an artifact I can add to the graveyard. I could play it and activate it, which uses 2 mana but draws a card, or I could just discard it to Frog in combat, which makes my whole squad bigger. But I have to jump the Frogs to get through the Sash. I think I'm going to start with Brainstorm and just see how things look after that. They brought Vial up to 3. I'm not going to get Spirit of the Lab here. Ooh, a red mana Unholy Heat. Suddenly, exciting things revealed. I think I put back... Nile Spellbomb being an artifact is so good, but it's also just doesn't matter. Okay. Because the Lion Sash has me under control. I'm not going to get Delirium. I might be able to get Mother of Runes tapped here. What do I want to pitch to Force if I pitch something to Force? I think Daze is losing its juice here. Yeah, I guess I have to put back Murktide and Spellbomb. Murktide and Spellbomb go back. This can be 3/3. I can make Frog bigger than that. I could just attack with all of my creatures without jumping anything. But if I'm going to jump at all, then I should not attack with Nethergoyf. I can make Nethergoyf 2/3 though. Alright, I'm going to attack with everything. The Aether Vial could mess me up here, but I'm at least going to make this as weird as I can on my opponent. Okay, their Lion Sash is a 2/2. I'm going to discard Daze to make my thing a 2/3. They're fetching now. They can make their thing a 3/3. And I can make my thing a 3/4. Exiling your Ajani. Discard Force of Will. And I would redraw the Nile Spellbomb here if I let the Frog connect. I don't think I want that card. Alright, I'm going to pass priority first, because they have to save their Lion Sash here. And now I'm certain I don't want Nile Spellbomb. Okay, fetch. Get Volcanic Island. That makes Nethergoyf bigger. I draw 1 card. It's another Force. That's not very good. Roast this Mother of Runes. And here we go. The Vial on 3 did not do anything. Up to 4 now. Next turn it can shoot in Yorion. I don't know how popular Palace Jailer is as a bullet these days, but it is represented right now. At least be aware of it. Solitude Hardcast is live. Lion Sash, no attack. Go to my turn. Alright, there's Solitude. Almost punished by letting me untap, but they're getting away with it. That's disappointing. Alright, my big Frog is gone. Brainstorm. Yeah, I'll send that. DRC Wasteland. Okay, I get one of these back if I want it. I don't think I want Wasteland or Force of Will anymore. And I can jump the Frog, attack. I'm going to wait for the trigger and make sure this actually happens before I shuffle. Okay, now I'll shuffle. I am falling behind though. Brainstorm, always welcome. Brainstorm, Frog, and Spellbomb. And Murktide. Okay. I will have 4 cards in my graveyard. I could make it 5 if I discard a Frog. Making Murktide good makes Nethergoyf bad. I do need to be bigger than Solitude, though I'm about to be Yorion out of the game. Yeah, I think I've lost. I'm going to put back Murktide and Spellbomb, and then just dump out all my creatures. But this Vial goes to 5, they just get Yorion put into play, all of that is uncounterable. Not that I have a counterspell anyway. And then Yorion will be the biggest creature in play, and it kills another thing with the Solitude on entry. Wow, Caracas. Alright, now they just have the full loop. They can Yorion every turn. If they grab Yorion here, I'm going to concede. Oh, they're not even done. Yeah, I was going to concede just to the Yorion. Yeah, these matchups are really bad. You got to get it done quick or you don't get it done at all. And that's what we just saw. Consigned to Memory, I actually have grown to like quite a bit. I'm still experimenting with it. It's new, relatively new in the format, but I think it is good enough against Death and Taxes. Meltdown kills stuff like Aethervial and Vexing Bauble. Orcish Bowmaster kills some of the X1s, but they don't play a lot of those anymore. It is just another threat, though. We saw Mother of Runes and Spirit of the Lab. If Spirit of the Lab is back, then I want Bowmaster for sure. Spirit comes in and out of Death and Taxes depending on the meta, and it makes a lot of sense in Psychic Frog's world. Everything that's the removal spell is in. In history, I have cut Force of Will versus Death and Taxes, but I don't think that's been true for a while. I think Solitude was probably the printing that changed that. You just really need to pound your Murktide in. Cutting 3 days on the play seems like a lot, but that's also not really how I'm fighting the game anymore. Let's go. Ugh. It's not a good matchup to mulligan in. Off we go, down to 6. I'll keep this. Keep bottom 1 of the forces, play Dragon's Rage Channeler on turn 1. There we go. Like we said in the deck tech, this is the card that we're red for, and splashing a whole color into your deck, we're playing against one of the dedicated mana denial strategies our format has to offer. This is exactly where a punish would happen if we're going to get punished. I think I want to Brainstorm here. Consigned to Memory. I'll put that in the graveyard. That's a later thing, and they didn't lead on Aethervial. Unholy Heat, Fatal Push. I love all of this. I'm going to put back Bowmaster and Underground Sea. Bowmaster will be the last thing I draw in this sequence. I'm keeping up the Ponder as my blue card for Force. I can Ponder into Bowmaster if they play an X1 next turn. I guess I would just Fatal Push any X1 they play here. That's not even true. If I Ponder and mill the Bowmaster, I get Delirium immediately. That is sorcery and creature. I don't think that's how I'm going to do this. Thelia, the dog, is a big part of their plan these days. Happy to push that if it shows up here. Got Elegant Parlor and kept the card. I have 2 answers in hand to a Magus of the Moon, which is another thing they do sometimes. Okay, I don't love giving up the Force after they've sculpted and have a 7-card hand they're happy with, but I also would like to get this Dragon's Rage Channeler actually doing something. Consign Daze, Ponder. Don't shuffle that. Ponder again. Bin the Daze. Consign to Memory, land, Molten Collapse. I like these cards, just deciding what order I want to see them in. And I'll put the Consign in my hand, no shuffle, and attack. Consign is blue for Force and also is Consigned to Memory. Fetched a basic in the end step and then didn't do anything. Alright, I am concerned about this 8-card hand that hasn't played a spell yet. Recruiter of the Guard. This is where we consign our memories. This is the value we're looking for. Molten Collapse. I did leave that on top. I still want it. I just think that's going to be good eventually. And they have finally fed me something that dies to Bowmaster. Floated this around. Could have played it on turn 2. Wanted to actually kill something with it. Shields are down right now, though. Gripful or removal, but the shields are down. They once again kept their Elegant Parlor card. Wrath of the Skies. Shit. I mean, that is exactly the type of thing I wanted to hold Force of Will for, and ran out of blue cards. And I'm drawing a land. This is bad. I probably just lost. That is a card that, intellectually, somewhere in the back of my brain, I knew that they played, but I did not specifically think about. But that's exactly the type of sequence I was worried about when I pointed out their 8-card hand a bunch of turns ago. Because they're clearly building up to something. All right, Yorion in hand. Yeah, they might have just been sandbagging a bunch of nonsense. Okay, good follow-up, though. Fetch. Volcanic Island. Molten Collapse for both. Or, shit, I don't think I was supposed to do that, because Yorion's in hand. I got so excited about a 2-for-1. All right. Red-black. I do have Delirium. Can I play Murktide and keep Delirium? Instant, sorcery, instant. Okay, I still have Delirium. Really wish I had a blue card.
They have 5 cards in hand. Certainly none of them are Solitude or Swords to Plowshares. What if they're not, though? What if they just play Yorion here? Shit. Okay. And this is pointing out, like, obviously I could have held a blue card. There are things I could have done differently here. But at the same time, they just turtled up for literally 5 turns. They did not cast a spell until turn 5. And a deck with access to Entomb and Reanimate would have put them in the earth by now. So just thinking about the differences between combo tempo and non-combo tempo. Bobble, not great. It's not going to get me above Yorion. I am going to bobble them. Stoneforge Mystic. Good to know about that one. I was drawing a black card, or a blue card in their upkeep would be nice. They shuffled away the Stoneforge. Okay, I have Force available now. And I'm at 26 life to their 11. Yeah, I just Fatal Push this and then play the other frog. I think that's the best outcome here. Oh, gross. Well, that card's not really beatable. I'm going to go Hellbent, and I'll have a 2-2 versus their 4-5. Wow! Death and Taxes came to game. They can't equip the Jitte this turn. I at least have that going for me. I'm going to push the Skyclave Apparition in the end step. I get a 2-2. And Fatal Push. Just a bunch of answers to not Yorion. So, okay, I'm about to concede, but I did give up Force Blue card a couple times when I could have held it up. And I think the biggest blunder here was when I got excited about Molten collapsing the Mother of Runes and the Aether Vial on the same turn. I could have just Unholy Heated or Fatal Push the Mother, let Aether Vial tick up 1 or 2 times. It doesn't start on 5, you know? And then the Molten Collapse is my best answer to Yorion. So I think I did misplay this game in a couple of key spots. But also we were demonstrated the just structural misery it is to play against Death and Taxes as a fair tempo deck. Really wish I had Archon of Cruelty in my deck right now. GG's though, opponent. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the play for round 2. I'm going to keep my hand. One of the most common mistakes people who are new to these decks make is thinking they have to mulligan for a threat. You don't. I got 3 answers in my hand. My lands are set up. Got all my colors and the ability to dig with Brainstorm. What is the rush? A tapped Shifting Woodland. That's interesting. I'm going to Brainstorm here. There is a threat. See, they show up. Don't worry about it. Okay, so Shifting Woodland. I know this was showing up in Nadu towards the end of the Nadu format in Modern. I could see this being an enabler with Dark Depths in Legacy. I could see this just being some stupid card that Cradle Control is playing, or some White of the Reliquary deck. I think I'm going to put back 2 Dazes here, play the Nethergoyf, and this gives me the most well-rounded hand for what may come. If this turns out to be lands, I'm going to be bummed that I have Unholy Heat and Fatal Push in my hand. But if they're lands, Daze is not going to be great either. Let's see what happens. Versus Saga. Mana Bond, holy smokes. Okay, so this is some sort of turbo lands, 8 mulch, shenanigan, nonsense mess. Very interested in a wasteland at this point. Okay, I will ponder using the red. Murktide Regent, Dragon's Rage Channeler, Brainstorm. Well, the Brainstorm gets rid of these removal spells that I'm now pretty sure aren't good. None of this is a wasteland. I will keep it though. Brainstorm. There we go. Found the wasteland. 4th card down. Now do I want to hold up wasteland or not? I could shuffle, play DRC, add to my board, hold up wasteland for next turn. I think Unholy Heat sucks, and I don't think Murktide Regent is going to be the difference maker. Pushing one construct could swing a race. I think this is the biggest decision of the game, whether I play out this Wasteland or add to my board and shuffle. I'm going to add to my board and shuffle. This also commits me to 2 red sources when my deck is mostly black. Okay, here we go. I left my shields down 1 turn. We'll see if I get punished. I just forced the mana bond last turn. If their plan is to just like make a land drop and try to grind through, I like my line. If they have a second mana bond and it fires out a Dark Depths, then they got me. Bajuka Bog. Wow, what a fucking unit that was. Alright. Yeah, that card's good against both of the creatures I have in play. Life from the Loam, no target. Okay. Mishra's Bauble, hello. That quickly fills multiple card types into my graveyard. I don't want this Underground Sea. Bauble. Bauble you. Let's see what you're working with. Shadow Spear, okay. Wasteland. I could take out the Urza Saga, or I could save this for a Dark Depths. Taking out the Urza Saga is temporary, but I still think I want to do it. If they're on the slow dredge loam plan, I can live with this. I am falling behind quickly, though. Hey, another Wasteland, let's go. They either dredge loam or draw Shadow Spear. They drew the Spear. I can't imagine that card is good in their hand. Yavimaya. Shadow Spear. It's in play now. I'd love a Ponder. That would be a fast track to Delirium. Molten Collapse. And that does destroy Shadow Spear and put a sorcery in my graveyard. And it's not pretty, but let's do it. Red-black. Hitting an instant or creature here gets me Delirious. In that Nethergoyf. Slam the Wasteland. Now we went from 3 damage this turn to 7. They are dead on board and got to beat a Wasteland. Okay, go. Weirdly enough, if they didn't play out that worthless looking Shadow Spear, the Molten Collapse wouldn't have done anything. Blast Zone. Good find. If I had aggressively Wastelanded, we would not have... They wouldn't be able to activate that, but I'd have exactly that right here. And then I'll just redeploy my board. Yep, my creatures are destroyed. And I have to exile a Delirium's worth of cards to play this. That would be 1, 2, 3, 4. It would still be a 2. Dragon's Rage Channeler would be 1. Yeah, I think I bring one of these back. Oh, if I bring this back, I lose my ability to hold up Wasteland. I'm just going to play the Channeler and keep the Wasteland up. They've got a Vexing Bauble. Okay, I don't care much about that. And they clearly just, or maybe they didn't just draw it if they were playing around the Blast Zone for a long time. That's the type of card that's usually in play if you have it. But no, if they planned specifically around this for a while, then that solves that problem. They didn't dredge Loam, but they are tapping 2 mana. They might just have another one. And another Loam they do have. They replayed the Blast Zone into the Wasteland, which means either they messed up or they have a plan to get through this anyway. They could kill all my stuff anyway, or... Okay, they're crop rotating now, which I happen to have the perfect answer to. Cast Daze for mana, because I can't do it for free. Molten Collapse, Surveil, that gives me another sorcery to bring back Nethergoyfs with. Do I want access to this card? I don't think so. That was big. I was in the middle of narrating. They might just have crop rotation and some trick here to Dark Depths me. And I have to Wasteland the Blast Zone here, or else they just use it next turn. If that punched a hole for them to make Merit Lage right now with their 3-card hand, they got it. Oh, they did find a Mazavith. And now the slow part of the deck kicks in. We survived the force check on the mana bond, and now just dredging up Mazavith. That's tough. Because Mazavith makes me have to play out additional creatures, and the additional creatures just died to the Blast Zone in hand. And they crop rotated the Bog, so now that's gone. And my deck doesn't play Lightning Bolt anymore, or otherwise I'd actually feel great about this game. Attack with Channeler. Opponent just confidently going to 3 here. They could have played the Mazavith and stayed at 4, but they didn't. Dredged Loam again. mazes here. Boseiju, Wasteland, Thespian Stage to the hand. I'm pretty close to conceding this game. There's another Nethergoyf that just gets blast zoned. I'm going to check the list and probably scoop. Psychic Frog. All right, fine. I'm not really under that much pressure. I won't concede, though the game is over. I will, for the folks in the comments who always say, why didn't you play it out? You could have drawn exactly both Wasteland, Psychic Frog, Brainstorm, everything in a row, and it could have gone perfectly your way. That's true. It's just unlikely, and we have limited time on this mortal earth. But I will play it out for a few more turns. Opponent only has 8 cards in their hand, don't worry. Saga. We knew about that one. Ooh. Shifting Woodland has become a mana bond. That's exciting. That's a fun interaction. Here comes their whole hand, which we know includes Wasteland, Thespian Stage. Oh yeah, 2 Field of the Deads. Let's go. Let's go. Put those triggers on the stack. That's so many zombos. Okay, so this game came down to them having Blast Zone in their hand on the turn they were dead. And I could have Wastelanded them to keep them off Blast Zone mana. That's such a weirdly specific thing to be worried about in terms of the deck with Maze of Ith, Crop Rotation, Dark Depths combo, etc., etc. I don't feel bad for not wasting there, though it did cost me the game. I have some land hate and some graveyard hate. Consigned to Memory can counter mana bond trigger. I don't think that's how I want to spend my life. Consigned to Memory, what else does this do? It can stop Saga from making a construct if I counter the trigger for the land's ability to learn that. Force Negation helps with Loam and the Force Check aspect of the deck. I don't think I'm bringing in Consigned to Memory. These Fatal Pushes were big bad the whole time. Is Unholy Heat better or worse than Fatal Push? Can I just bring in something else, actually? Grafdigger's Cage doesn't affect them. Consigned to Memory isn't textless, it's just not good, but I do have 5 forces in my deck now. I'm boarding out 5 non-blue cards. Orcish Bowmaster could literally just do some damage to my opponent, though I'm not excited about it. I have no Pyroclasm style effect to keep up with a wall of zombies. Meltdown can sweep up Urza Saga Remnants. Maybe bringing in one of those is fine. Okay. I'll try this. Okay. Double Wasteland Days are all good. Not having black for Graveyard Hate, a little worrisome, but we might not need the Graveyard Hate right away. Try to apply some pressure. I have to daze almost anything that goes on the stack this turn, because most of their spells move them forward mana. Cool. That's the best possible outcome here. Nethergoyf. I will put that in the graveyard. It is a creature that gives me 3 card types in the bin. And I also can't cast this card. Another Daze. We did it. Another DRC, and I'm going to attack. If this Daze gets anything, I'm going to feel awesome. If it doesn't, I'm going to feel bad. A Wasteland. That makes Daze not work anymore. Soul Guide Lantern. Yikes. Okay, they're on that slow squeeze game. I would love access to black mana here. We did it. Coffin Purge is extra sick because it also triggers my DRCs. Twice even. I'm just going to pass here. I don't think wasting this Savannah is the best thing I can do. Shifting Woodland. Mana Bond. Shit, we're dead. Okay, Mana Bond resolves. They have 4 cards in hand. The only real hope here is that their lands aren't good. Like, sometimes it's just some random shit. But if there's just, like, 1 Wasteland in there, or, you know, Blast Zone and a million ways to make mana. But, honestly, this could be worse. I am just going to go to my turn. I'll play out this Wasteland and declare my attack. Attack with my Channelers. The Blast Zone also kills Soul Guide Lantern and Mana Bond. And then I have to beat this, like, board full of ragtag lands. They do not have Delirium. This is a Delirium ability. I'll just pass from here. I think they forgot their Soul Guide Lantern was going to die, or else they would have at least bombed me, even if they could have drawn a card, which sounds really good. Of course you draw fucking Life from the Loan off the top. Okay, Wasteland and Blast Zone. I think I would rather have the Life from the Loam out of the game. Oh, I can stop both. Never mind. I'm going to purge the Wasteland and then purge the the loam. Hope I clicked on that correctly. It looks like I did. They purged that wasteland. Yeah, that was the best draw on their deck. I do have a good answer to it for now. Doesn't answer it for very long. And I do need to apply pressure to my opponent at some point. Their hand is Blast Zone. Now they have no hand. Reason B. That beats Merit Lage. I'm going to zap that life from the loam right now. Okay, now the game gets weird for a while. They're on top deck mode, and their land is full, or their deck is full of shitty lands. I am not in top deck mode, but I can't apply pressure, and they have double Maze of Ith. Harbinger of the Seas would be a sick find. I would also need to, come up with the mana to cast it, of course. Thespian Stage, that's good. Nethergoyf. A threat. Get in there, big fella. Show them how it's done against that double Maze of Ith. Thespian Stage is going to do something in the end step here. Let's find out what. If they try to copy my wasteland, I'll just use that wasteland so they can't have one. All right, they just want another Maze of Ith. Pile them up. This has been a great showcase for Grixis Tempo. Pairing into two historically heinous matchups. Really wish I had access to Archon of Cruelty in this one as well. You could have access to any card you want with CardTrader.com. Maybe I should get on there and order some Archon of Cruelties right now. Maybe look at here before the end of the match. The opponent was in the tank for a long time and decided not to play any cards. That's interesting. Oh, the third Shwasty land. I could fire all of these at the Maze of Iths and start pushing damage. I don't think that's a good plan, though. I'm going to at least see if they're paying attention with those 3 Maze of Iths. And their mazes are also forests. I don't know what they need their 8th green mana for on my turn, but okay. I'm going to waste the Thespian Stage with the wasteland they're targeting. Suddenly thinking that's a good play. Feels like they have some sort of graveyard recursion. Maybe I'm just afraid of the boogie person, but the boogie person is definitely life from the loam. They came up with another stage. That works too. Dragon's Rage Channeler. Still under the boot of that first wasteland. The only wasteland they've got in this game, but it kept me off all these cards so far. They're copying my wasteland. I'm going to waste a Maze of Ith here, actually. Because if they run out of those, I'm pushing damage. I can answer Merit Lage with a Brazen Borrower still, so the wastelands are less important than they might seem on the surface. This Blast Zone will eventually be a problem. Caracas. That's not an important land here. Oh, the 4th wasteland. I am going to attack and see what they want to do here. Maze of Ith, story checks out. Haha! The 4th wasteland. Roll your eyes, opponent. Roll them into the back of your skull. Okay, they've copied my wasteland again. I will once again fizzle the copy and go after Maze of Ith. Crop Rotation might be the card they've been sitting on. Opponent said they're supposed to be the wasteland deck. Not in my house. Okay, so now we're at kind of an interesting spot where they can no longer ignore Nethergoyf. They can still Blast Zone it, and then I'm just kind of sitting around doing nothing. Oh my goodness. That's one of the better draws I could ask for. Now if they blast my Nethergoyf, and at 17 they don't really have to do this yet, but if they do, I can immediately follow up with another threat. Thespian Stage is copying my wasteland again. Guess I'm just going to waste Thespian Stage now. I can still Brazen Borrow if they suddenly deploy a Merit Lage. They don't have Delirium for this thing yet. They do have plenty of mana, though, if they get Delirium to copy Maze of Ith and tap it every turn. I am not adding to the board if they're not blasting their zone. Okay, the zone is blasted. Goodbye, zone. Exploration. Hopefully that's low impact at this phase of the game. Mulch is extremely high impact at this phase of the game. They got a Dark Depths off of it and binned 2 Baubles and an Endurance. Okay, I've been through the Thespian stages already. This Dark Depths is just hanging out. They do have Delirium at this point, thanks to the Mulch. I probably didn't need to fetch in the end step. It's busy narrating. Punished with a Daze. I deserve this horrible draw. Okay, passing the turn. This becomes the permanent until end of turn. They would need 1, 2, 3, 4, and then another 1, 2, 3 to copy Dark Depths to turn this into Thespian Stage, then activate a Copying Dark Depths. They can also just make this into Maze of Ith every turn like we talked about, or they could rip Field of the Dead and play a second Dark Depths, which not only gives them another zombie, but it immediately yeets that into the graveyard. Okay, this game just got bad. Another horrific matchup. You can just put like Price of Progress in your sideboard if you want, and you can probably navigate games like this, but I don't have that card. I need them to get greedy and silly here. Like, if they just don't make Merit Lage, I don't know how I ever win. But if they do make Merit Lage, that kills this Dark Depths, it kills this Shifting Woodland. It gives me a trigger, a Surveil trigger, when I Brazen Borrow the thing. Okay, you get a 20/20. I'm not going to Brazen Borrow yet, because if I get Delirium mid-combat, I can eat a zombie too. They could use Karakas to save Merit Lage. I'd let them do it. Sadly enough, that does actually fizzle the Petty Theft, which means I don't get a Brazen Borrower on the other side. We'll see. Pluto Delta, I don't want that. Okay, they let me have the Brazen Borrower. I do not get Delirium. No free block here. They got one card in hand. It's Merit Lage. Is that joke over yet? The whole tokens aren't real cards joke? Jeez. Speaking of joke, how about choke? Let's go. Mount the comeback. Brainstorm. Yes. Okay, now I need them to... I need to get Delirium, and I need them to just fail in every endeavor for a while. If I Brainstorm into Land Psychic Frog, that kind of plays. Brainstorm... I want that eventually. I will keep it on top. I found the frog, didn't get the land to go with it. I put it in the graveyard in the middle of combat last turn. Remember that? That was cool. Great. Daze is great to pitch to Force. I'm going to put back Molten Collapse and Meltdown. If I Brainstorm right now, I can mill the Meltdown and get Delirium. I'm doing it. Meltdown to the graveyard. Alright, keep Force blue card, DRC, Collapse. And Collapse doesn't seem very good here. I'm going to put Channeler. So I would put Collapse on top if I expect to Force of Will something, then that's the best thing for me to Surveil away. I would put Channeler on top to do my best to play around Wasteland. But if I get Wastelanded, I could just go after... I could cast Ponder and mill the Molten Collapse next turn. Okay. Their deck's not really full of spells. There's not a lot of things that have to Force of Will here. And Psychic Frog is excellent here. Okay, I go to 10. The race is on. They did not play a card. That's concerning. I'm going to attack first. Cards that they would not play out include maybe Crop Rotation, a second copy of Boseiju or Karakas they wouldn't play out. I don't know. The tide's starting to shift here. I'm feeling pretty good. It's now on them to figure this out. A fetch land does represent 2 zombies off their next land drop. I will discard DRC and eat one of these zombies if they attack. Sick. Okay, so I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage with Force backup. I'm a little short. Alright, exile 3 cards to make this fly. Just a bunch of lands. Attack with my squad. Is Molten Collapse going to do anything this game? Or do I want this damage? If I play this other Dragon's Rage Channeler, then I have the damage anyway. Alright, I'm just going to deal 4 and draw a card. Another Force. Okay. Backup DRC, double Force, double blue card. Lethal on board. What a comeback. They're fetching in the end step. I expect a Surveil land here. Yeah, there's Lush Portico. That's the only reason to fetch here, rather than hold that in case it represents 2 zombies. But 2 zombies don't change this game anyway. Nice. Okay, cool. Insane comeback. I do not really have any cards here that would be good that aren't already in my deck. If you consign to memory a Merit Lage trigger, like the trigger that creates Merit Lage, the stack will clear and it will just trigger again because the land doesn't go anywhere. Like the land is still in play with no counters on it. That's not a solution before anyone tells me it is. Maybe I do bring in the Bowmasters over Dazes on the draw just as a way to deal some more damage. The Meltdown was pretty bad, but they also just never drew an Urza Saga that game. Okay. Bowmaster costs a different mana cost. We'll see what it's made of. There it is. Okay, I pass a force check. I could go 1-drop, 2-drop, and I do have Wasteland. This is as good as it gets, I suppose. Opponent mulled to 6. I don't really want to get buried by Exploration, but I also... It's not Mana Bond. They're also on a mull, which makes the Exploration less scary. The scary card is Life from the Loam and Wasteland. Ooh, Horizon Canopy. You want to play that like 7 or 8 times? Into my Bowmaster. Okay, Soul Guide Lantern, exiling nothing. I'm not going to spend a Force of Will on that. Okay, Nethergoyf, get in. No food in the belly. And they can reset the belly whenever they want. Let's see what those last 3 cards are made of. And I just drew Colorless Graveyard Hate, which means if they are on a loam line, I can blow out the loam. Or they could just fire Merit Lage into play and defeat me on the spot. Yeah, I mean, this is the nut draw, and I could have forced to stop it. I could have just parked Wasteland in play to stop it. But this is, I think, pretty unlikely. Now I need Brazen Borrower. Brazen Borrower? Harbinger of the Seas, you fucker. Too late. Okay. Well, just checking my deck for any outs. I don't think there are any. Nope. Okay. If they have that, they have that. In perfect hindsight, if you can see the future, obviously you force the Exploration there to slow them down to a point where Wasteland's up by the time all this comes together. But I think in normal Earth reality, where the last 2 cards in their hand have to be exactly Thespian Sage Dark Depths as they pass the turn, I think you will do better forcing the follow-up mulch in most games or the crop rotation than you will fighting over this Exploration. But this game, they got me. On to the next one.
The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables.
I'm on the draw in round 3. I've got a bunch of Brainstorms, my Mana Solid, and Psychic Frog. Let's do it. Opponent's on a mull to 6 with Gemstone Mine. There's no way this is a fair deck. Oh, is this just the Turbo Send It Necro Dominance deck? That's the only deck I can think of playing Gemstone Mine right now. And Manamorphose. They made red. Another Manamorphose. Storm is 3. Here we go. Now black in the pool. Lotus Petal. Okay, so that's 2 Manamorphoses spent. They can Necro down to 1. And they need to find one of their remaining Necropotences and a Born Upon a Wind. I don't know the math on this. I assume it's fine. But using 2 Manamorphoses like that seems reckless. Pitching a Spirit Guide. Unless they were actually digging for the Lotus Petal and found it on the second Manamorphose, that would be so annoying. Good thing I'll never know. Summoner's Pact. Well, they have a plan, because they would be dead otherwise. Another Pact. This is Spirit Guide. Another Spirit Guide. Another Summoner's Pact. I hope they're just memeing and then they concede. These are all in exile. They have the Manamorphose. Do you have the Born? Dark Ritual. Cabal Ritual. Cabal Ritual. Valakut Awakening. Okay, so they're still digging for Born, but they are very likely to find it now. They just draw half of their deck. Using the 3 packs to get 3 Spirit Guides before Manamorphose, they were thinning out their deck to try to hit the Born upon a win. Drew 11 cards. Oh, these go to the bottom. They're not discarded. I was like, wait, where'd they go? All right. I kept 1 card in the hand after all that. Okay, here we go. Finally, I'll let you play it out because we came this far. I think this deck sucks, by the way. I just want everyone to know that. We are currently getting dumpstered on turn 1, and we may even lose the match, but I do think this deck is actually horrible. And if you're watching this and you don't play a lot of Legacy and you're like, oh god, this format's just turn 1 wins. It's really not, and we are not really worried about this deck in the grand scheme of things. We just now know we need a mulligan. A Pyroblast hits Born Upon a Wind. Consigned to Memory can counter the Necro Dominance draw cards trigger and buy me a whole turn. Bowmaster means they only get to draw 9 cards instead of 19. Unholy Heat, Fatal Push are coming out. Molten Collapse coming out. Encountering Born Upon a Wind isn't probably that great of a plan, because by the time Born Upon a Wind's in their hand, they're also going to have a bunch of back mitigations in their hand. I could bring in Harbinger of Siege just to up my blue count. Yeah, I think that's actually reasonable to do. But Pyroblast counters packed on a force that's targeting a Necrodom. Okay, maybe I'll make room for these two. Are there other cards I can cut? Wasteland is not very good here. The game is going to last 1 turn. I like Daze. And the game's not really about attacking either. It's going to last 1 turn. I do have to apply pressure, but I can also afford to do something like cut Nethergoyf. Okay, here we go. Everything that is interaction is in my deck. This one's wonky, but I think I'm in for it. Because this is stifle the Necro trigger, and then play Bowmaster for the next Necro trigger. I want to snap cap 7. I'm going to bobble myself. If I could just find interaction here. Cool. I found Daze. I will keep that. So now my opponent has seen me keep 7 and then also not shuffle a card that I could have gotten rid of. But if I Daze, it means I can't Bowmaster on the following turn. Ooh, they're playing the slow game. Didn't know they had a slow game. Okay, I could Wasteland, or I could get myself set up to actually win, and I'm going to do that. Wild Cantor. I can hit that with Bowmaster if they don't immediately try to combo. Daze is pretty unreliable, though. That's something you have to be aware of because of all the Spirit Guides they play. Okay, here we go. Can we get a on-the-spot concession Bowmaster? The old Stone Rain, also your combo is half as effective. 1-2 punch. Hey, they're making green in response. Pitching Spirit Guide. Oh, they're doing some stuff. Manamorphose in response. All right, spin those wheels. Go nuts. We're in the end step, so even if they do, like, Ritual 100 times and then play Necro, that triggers at the start of the end step and we're past it. They just made green-black. It's probably Abrupt Decay. Is that what's going on here? Or not. All right. They must have missed. We'll take it. Knock out this initial mana source. Patience rewarded. Starting to push damage. And every point of damage you do to them is a card they can't draw on their combo turn as the game moves forward. And with Orcish Bowmaster, that's a lot more pressure than it even looks like. Bobble. What you're working with. A Lotus Petal. Okay. I'm going to play out this Wasteland and attack. I'm not going to add anything to the board. I'm not going to slam this 3/3 Murktide. I don't think that helps. Here's the Petal. Could have dazed it, but I feel like that's not where my fight is. Dark Ritual. This might be where my fight is. Nah, go ahead. Necro Dominance. Okay, 1, 2, cast Daze. And like I said, they have a bunch of Spirit Guides that could pay for this. Oh yeah, Summoner's Pact, get a Spirit Guide, pay for the Daze. Then I Daze it again. Just getting them on the hook here. Chosen this as my time to fight. Okay, they paid. Here's the other Daze. The 4 cards in their hand have to beat this Daze, and then beat the Bowmaster, and also push through Consigned to Memory. Alright, cool. Now they're on the play where Force of Will is much more important. I am not changing what I do here. And I could see Meltdown if they play out a game plan where they have like a Cavern of Souls, or not Cavern of Souls, Chrome Mox in play and have to pass or whatever. I could sweep it up. Do I think that's better than Pyroblast? Do I think that's better than Nethergoyf? It might be better than Nethergoyf. I don't want a lot of that going on. Let's go. Okay, no Force. I will mulligan this because this deck doesn't really do anything else. They kept 7 again, Jesus. My 6 doesn't have a Force. My 5 does. I'll keep this bottom Bowmaster and Harbinger. All right, reveal Chancellor of the Annex. If they kept a 7 that beats me after revealing Chancellor of the Annex, then that's okay. They win. Wild Cantor. All right, drawing a land here is going to be everything. Land? Oh no. Oh no. That was the turn. They had this Chancellor of the Annex start that didn't even win the game, and I couldn't punish because I had to mull to 5 to find interaction. Guess we'll see how this shakes out, though. Manamorphose pitching Simian Spirit Guide. So this is black, black, black for the Necro. And also black. So the Necro with mana still floating. Nothing I can do here. I'll just let them do their thing, I guess. Okay, they're at 1. Go for it. Manamorphose off of a Spirit Guide. There is blue in the pool. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. Cabal Ritual. Born Upon a Wind. I am mostly dead here. The Born should do it. Like I said, I think this deck sucks, but it can win. And I had to mull to 5 to find a force, and my 5 didn't have a land, and my draw step was not a land. I think if I draw a land here, force is online, then we're playing a game. They might just also have Pact in their hand, for all I know. Or they could have been using Wild Cantor to represent Veil of Summer. They might have just had me beat anyway. But keep 7 3 games in a row. Have disruption in the last one. You know, you're going to win those games when you register this deck. But sometimes you're going to mull to 4 and not be able to make 3 mana. GG's. On to the next one. I'm on the play in round 4. I'm going to keep my hand with lands and spells again. We'll see if I get to play Magic. The lead on Dragon's Rage Channeler, because that does even more the more things that I cast over the course of the game. Wooded Foothills. That's suspicious. Oh, it got a basic for us. Good news, everybody. We're not dead on the spot. Okay, Molten Collapse can kill Dryad Arbor. It is a creature or planeswalker. I could also ponder, fetch, cast whatever, right? Draw off the fetch. All right, I'm going to ponder. I don't need another Volcanic Island. There we go. That's basically exactly what I wanted. Except it does not cast cleanly this turn because I need access to black to play the game. I would take this trade, which is why I offered it. Opponent correctly identified. They don't want none of this. Okay, whatever they are, there's some Greenstone Zenith creature deck. If they jam a 3-drop this turn, like Nadu or something, I can daze it. If they take it slow, I can Unholy Heat and maybe even Mind Collapse if I draw mana to do that. Gaia's Cradle, off to an explosive start over there. Playing around Daze the whole time, smart. If this is an Elvish Reclaimer, I can kill it. I can also kill Allosaurus Shepherd. Shepherd's a fun one because I can go to kill it in response to the spell that they think is uncounterable. But with Daze in play, the Shepherd being in play generates mana that can just pay for Daze, which means I kind of want the Shepherd out of play, or I could just attack the mana sources themselves. Ponder. Okay. This gives me some choices. Okay, I am going to ponder. If I find Force of Will, I'll prioritize the Allosaurus Shepherd with my removal. Daze can go. Daze Psychic Frog Underground Sea. Underground Sea gives me Molten Collapse, which is not actually that good. It is another spell I can cast, which, if I mill over the frog, gives me Delirium, and I can just send the squad. If I'm going to do that, I could have double Daze in my hand. If I Unholy Heat the Shepherd, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe a 6 mana next turn. That's a lot. Okay, I think I'm going to go land, frog, Daze, no shuffle. And I'm going to attack first. I can get Delirium at instant speed, so I will. Unholy Heat the Shep, mill the frog, suddenly 7 damage. Let's hope double Daze is enough to keep me alive here. White in the pool. Nomad's Encore. Uh-oh. Alright. So they need to come up with blue. They used their white source / blue source to play Nomad. Now they need another mana to make Nadu. They have 3, 4, 5 mana. Plus if they make a land drop, it's 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. If they Court of Calling here, Daze is live. But they have to respect a counter spell because I went after Shepherd instead of one of the mana dorks. Natural Order. Double Daze, baby. Daze, pick up Volcanic Island. Now I'll mill away the Underground Sea because I'm going to have land drops to make. Underground Sea is gone. Pay for that. I Daze this again. Hope they don't have a Spirit Guide. Psychic Frog, also gone. Spot removal. Fatal Push, probably the best card I could draw here. I would accept Force of Will. Sad and embarrassing. But kudos to them for playing out the land after the Daze anyway. They could have tried to save face by just not doing that. Okay, Underground Sea and attack with the team. Attack with my creatures. Should probably brainstorm now if I'm going to do it. I might mill over an artifact. Hey, look at that. Extra damage. Play to your outs. Didn't draw Force of Will. I am in trouble if they have it. I am killing them next turn if they don't have it. I did what I could here. And got rewarded with a missequenced land drop. Might not be enough. Cradle, Cradle. This is a lot of mana. Crater Hoof Behemoth. For 19 damage, which is exactly my life total. I was supposed to leave back the Nethergoyf. Oh, tough beats. All right, whatever. Okay. Orcish Bowmaster coming in. Consign to Memory. Can counter a Hoof trigger. I don't think I want to do that. Isle Spellbomb, definitely not good. I think this is the only change I make. Though, Pyroblast, their deck's going to have Nadu in it. It's how much I want to respect that and how I want to do it. Force of Negation can counter Natural Order. Consign to Memory is not a good answer to Nadu. Harbinger of the Seas might get them, but this is where not having any basics of my own is a disaster. Like the previous round against 8 Mulch, it's worth it because you're just doing stuff and they're not. My opponent has basics and mana dorks. Yeah, I'm not going to bring in Harbinger. I think this is the only change I'm going to make. The last thing I'm thinking about is the Pyroblast. No, I'm going like this. Got a mulligan, no lands. I will keep this one. I think I'm bottoming Nethergoyf here. A Channeler can defeat an opponent by itself. I can't cast that Goyf, and I like all of my removal. Wooded Foothills. Got a forest. What is this forest? This Bloom Burrow. Full art. This is a fun forest. Look at those mushrooms. Hey, Noble Hierarch. I have some options here. I can heat this in the upkeep and get the Surveil, or I could just draw for turn and ignore that for a minute. Hope that Brainstorm with 4 looks finds a land. If I didn't have Brainstorm in my hand, I would have heated in the upkeep. Cool. Found the land. First try. Okay, there's no blue cards here right now. Do I just delete Force of Will and hope to carry with my removal and good looks? I can put back Force and Wasteland. I will once again offer the trade with Dragon's Rage Channeler. No sell. Underground Sea, Nethergoyf. Let's roll it out here. Handful of removal. It's just, how far ahead of me can they get? This game I can ignore Allosaurus Shepherd if they have one of those. I would love to draw a land this turn. Maybe I was supposed to keep the Wasteland to set up the double removal and get rid of Molten Collapse. Look at this shit. Come on, land. Oh, this is a spot where I think I should actually Unholy Heat in the upkeep. The selecting for a land here is huge. We got there. Put that on top. Heat that thing. Draw the land. Attack with my creatures. Orcish Bowmaster. I'm just going to jam it in here. Okay. Good turn. We could still die to Natural Order. Just shoving Attracts into play. Quirion Ranger. This is worth thousands of mana. I think it was better to kill the 2 Noble Hierarchs than the Dryad Arbor because Noble Hierarch taps for more colors and is a better combat object. The Shep. Cradle Natural Order. Untap the Dryad Arbor. Basic Force is back. Okay. Sylvan Safekeeper. Definitely an Nadu deck. Not that I had any doubt. Nomad's Encore. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They can cord for Nadu on my turn. Okay, I'm going to go to combat. And if they cord in combat, I can try to kill the Nadu second main. Not that anything's actually going to die here. All right. Molten Collapse. Guess I would have had Delirium if I did this first. Going after the Nomad. They sack Dryad Arbor to save it. Nethergoyf. I don't need more of those. That's in the graveyard now. Delirium unlocked. 3 damage. Missed from that sequencing, but I specifically held it because I thought they were gonna throw a Nadu in mid-combat. Mostly just have to hope their hand is a bunch of bricks right now. They picked up their land untapped Noble Hierarch, 4 mana in the pool. If. Alright, Zenith for Nadu, and then we get buried. Okay. I'm not winning this game. We can stop. What a shellacking we are receiving with this deck that is supposed to be good. On to the final round. We have to fend off a reverse trophy with Grixis Delver. I'm on the play in the final round, trying to fend off the reverse trophy. I'm going to keep my hand. I see a lot of cards with this bad boy. I'm going to cast Ponder this turn, which means I want to bobble them. Like, the fetch land trick doesn't work if you need the mana. I'm just going to try to see what deck they are. A Stifle, that's good to know about. A Flooded Strand to get Underground Sea and Ponder. Dragon's Rage Channeler and a million lands. I do like the Dragon's Rage Channeler. I don't like that I have to fetch to get it. But we're here. We're doing it. Stifle is what? Dreadnought. It's someone being cute in a tempo shell. Dreadnought's the most real Stifle deck. But obviously people can just put Stifle in whatever deck they want, even when it's bad. Especially when it's bad. People love playing Stifle when it's bad. They just said hi again in the chat. I did play against a friendly person on Dreadstill. Like whole ass Dreadnought plus Standstill nonsense the other day. I wonder if that's who this is. No offense to my opponent. I don't remember everyone by their username. I play a lot of Magic Online. Okay, Wasteland. And if they're on just mana denial, my hand is phenomenal against that. I'm just going to let this happen. I have so many lands. Look at all this. See what I got going on here, opponent? If they fetch, I'm going to fetch for Underground Sea, Brainstorm, then fetch for Volcanic Island. All right, we're just playing land go together. They have the information that I'm a Mishra's Bauble deck. I have the information that they are a Stifle deck. Basic Island summoned. Fetching again. Basic Plane summoned. All right, release the hounds. I'm going to Brainstorm and fetch away the bad cards right now. Volcanic Island, Brainstorm. I do have a Force that can fight over a Dreadnought. Double DRC is kind of cool. Spellbomb doesn't do anything. I'm going to get rid of this extra Wasteland. Underground Sea and Volcanic Island. I do have Delirium. Okay, here's your stupid dress down. Forcing the dress down leaves the Dreadnought in hand, and this might just be a value cantrip dress down. But forcing the Dreadnought means the 12/12 is gone. Okay, I'll force this. I imagine they can fight back, but I have a deck full of Fatal Pushes and Molten Collapses. Just gotta try to get there. They didn't fight over that one. Do they have 2? A Wasteland. They can take me off black. I don't need black right now. Okay. We survived the first onslaught. That Stifle's still in their hand. They were playing Daze the other day, so I'm actually going to use Wasteland here so I don't get got by a Daze Stifle 1-2 punch. Squad, deployed. Okay, begin the beats. And Mystery Rainforest plus Molten Collapse represents an answer to Phyrexian Dreadnought if we can get the Misty through the Stifle. And if they just Stifle in a Dreadnought here, then that answers that question all by itself. They did not have a Dreadnought last turn, or else it would be in play. They're now on a 3-turn clock, though, and got to do something. The draw-go game is over. Prismatic Ending, 1 down. They're on a 6-turn clock. Daze. Okay, here I come. I don't like their 5 cards in hand, but I do like that their deck is a bunch of A-B synergies, and some of those cards might be bad. Volcanic Island revealed. I saw a bunch of Timeless Dragons in their deck the other day. Attack with Dragon's Rage Channeler. And I'd love to get this Nethergoyf into play, but I feel like this Wasteland is a trick. I could do it now, but if they cast Timeless Dragon, they can daze that. I think they had a pretty fleshed out Urza Saga package, if I'm remembering this opponent correctly. This Wasteland is parked. Just freezing, chilling. Here goes Brainstorm. Now we have doubt about whether Stifle's still in the hand or not. But I am missing a color, and have this fetch land in play, so they are incentivized to interact with that. Force of Will, that can force a Stifle if I need to do that. I hope I don't. Opponent's at 9, I'm just going to keep chilling. Fetched a basic island. And they pass the turn. Fatal Push, another black contingent answer to a future Dreadnought. Alright, their life total just dropped again. Tick-tock. They got 2 turns left to show me what they're working with, but they got 7 cards in hand. Another Brainstorm. Scalding Tarn. And once again, we find ourselves in a game where a Grixis Delver deck with Lightning Bolt is a very different animal than a Grixis Delver deck without Lightning Bolt. If you are just completely stable at 1 or 2 life, and I need to resolve a creature and then get you with it, that's concerning to me. Whereas in any other era of Grixis Delver, my opponent would be on notice. Like, not only do they have to deal with this Dragon's Rage Channeler, but they have to deal with the 4 Lightning Bolts still in my deck. Prismatic Ending. That's pretty good. Do I want to Brainstorm now? I think so. I'm going to Brainstorm now. I at least get a Surveil for the road, if nothing else. I don't need a Fatal Push. Murktide can follow up here. I could play Murktide and or another Dragon's Rage Channeler. Put back Unholy Heat, DRC, and this happens. They can't pitch Force of Will anymore, but they can hardcast it, which turns on Daze. They can't crack that fetch land. I can be pretty bullish here. I would rather play 2 creatures. I don't want to run into the Stifle after all this time. But if they Stifle, they can't force. But if they force, they can't Stifle. I'm going to lead on Murktide Regent, I think. I was starting to make it big, then realized I don't have to do that. I want it to be bigger than Timeless Dragon, but it doesn't need to be the max. I'd love a hardcast Force here, because that just unlocks my whole shit. Sick. Alright, Daze that. Pick up the Volcanic Island. Murktide resolves. Now you can't Stifle me. Underground Sea, Volcanic Island, Nethergoyf, Dragon's Rage Channeler. Please don't Terminus me. Alright, cool. Just had to dance around their nonsense. That game brought to you by Mishra's Bauble randomly seeing Stifle. Okay, Bowmaster is a nice flash threat in a control matchup. Consigned to Memory counters Phyrexian Dreadnought. I don't know if I need all 3, but I'm probably going to want some number. I do not want Harbinger. I do want Pyroblast. I don't need Nile Spellbomb. I don't need Unholy Heat. Daze eventually found a home there, but they have a lot of basics and the game's going to take a long time. Not going to make a plan out of it. Meltdown can kill any number of resolved Dreadnoughts, but if I have 4 Fatal Push, 2 Molten Collapse, Brazen Borrower, my Force of Wills, and some number of Consigned to Memories, that's something I need. If I think they have Urza Saga, and I think they do, I don't know, I might just be inventing that, but I want access to at least 1 Meltdown if that's true. Maybe the Consigns just don't get a home here. I don't really want a card that interacts with exactly 1 card in their deck, if they can win without that card, which they can. Do I want the 1 Daze to keep them honest, or do I want just another card in here? I could play 1 Consign, I could play Force of Negation. They might try to Blood Moon me. They actually killed me with Price of Progress the other day. Do you believe that? Out of Dreadstill. Just double popped me. That was sick. I think this video is going to come out before that video, though. Spoilers. Enjoy. Hopefully you forget by the time that video comes up. Nile Spellbomb is a cantrip that helps Delirium, and I think they have Timeless Dragon. Okay, I will leave in 1 Nile Spellbomb, which might seem weird, but I'm working on information that was gained outside of the last game we played. I will keep this. I like Dragon's Rage Channeler and Ponder. I like that there's nothing stifleable here. Blooded Strand. Murktide Regent. We've got an endgame. Channeler's in. They're fetching in the end step. I wonder if we're going to see a Surveil in here, or Basic Plains Plow. Tundra. None of the above. Tundra Plow. Okay. Not respecting Wasteland by getting Basic Plains, which is usually a sign of weakness in a deck that has as many basics as we saw. Yeah, the second Tundra is just them saying, I got nothing for this. Okay. How does this game play out from here? I don't think well, is the answer. Do I have any means of applying pressure without casting a spell? And it's big no. Yeah, I guess I just ponder into the void here. Enjoy your your hard-earned Ancestral Recall. Because if I just let both of us draw until we have thousands of cards in hand, and Daze that sick. If we both just draw until we have thousands of cards in hand, then they're going to find an Urza Saga at some point, which is going to drain out. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's going to beat my Wasteland. And there's literally nothing I can do under standstill. So I'm just going to bust it. And punished. I could have played the Wasteland before I played Ponder last turn, but I wanted to cast Nethergoyf. And now we are missing lands. I think last turn, if I just slammed a Black Source, we're pretty far ahead. Okay, end step Brainstorm from the opponent. I've got a full house. Basic Plains. We still have a Tundra in their hand that we know about. Saw that a while ago. Bauble. What will you do now? Stifle the Bauble trigger. Send me straight to hell. Brainstorm on top. Why does this mana base feel so greedy? Just trying to figure it out. I mean, obviously this game, I got Wastelanded when I only had one land. That's why it feels bad. But throughout the league, the mana has felt rough. And there are 18 lands in this deck. I think Delver decks have been on 19 as the standard fare for a while. Even the old 19 land Delver decks had 4 baubles, not 2. We're also playing 3 colors instead of 2, which makes the lands stretch even thinner. There's no Troll of Khazad-dûm or Lorien revealed in this deck, which a lot of the tempo decks play. Okay, do you have Stifle? I'll concede to Stifle. But if this land comes into play, I'm starting to cast spells. We did it. Nethergoyf. The first of many. Prepare yourself. We both have 7 cards in hand. We know their deck can pivot into making 12/12s. Swords to Plowshares, that's just a 1-for-1. That's fine. End step Dress Down. It's becoming less fine. How many Dreadnoughts do you have? I have 1 Fatal Push. Maybe cast 1 Dreadnought and don't back it up with anything. Scroll of Fate. Okay, that represents more Dreadnoughts. This is definitely the opponent I thought it was. Okay, Brainstorm, try to make something happen or just get the Goyf in. I'm just going to keep Goyfing. Force pitching Dress Down. If they're in a spot where they have to Force of Will a Nethergoyf, that's really interesting. They get to manifest a card from their hand, which, if it's Dreadnought, can clap me for 12. But they just used Force of Will on something that was not Fatal Push. Moment of Truth, they didn't flip the thing. Okay. And we are starting to unlock. I'm going to fetch Dragon's Rage Channeler. Get in there, big fella. Nethergoyf, you get in there, big fella. If this is Dreadnought, but they didn't want to hit me for 12, and they have a second Dreadnought in hand, that's actually lethal. And I don't know why they wouldn't just pop me for 12 when the option was there, though. I don't think this is a Dreadnought. They fired off the Brainstorm we knew about in response to Nethergoyf. Scroll of Fate. Dropping in another friend. If both of these attack, I'm blocking both of them. If just this one attacks, I think that's a Dreadnought. Yep. Okay. See, this one, not a Dreadnought. This is what I was saying. If they both attack, it's a bluff. If this attacks, it's probably a Dreadnought. I am... And I could force them to flip it. I could also just call their bluff. I'm going to block. If they turn it up, that's fine. I have Fatal Push. If they don't turn it up, didn't get got. Okay. Not Dreadnought, Dreadnought. Which means that this Dreadnought wasn't in their hand when they manifested this one. The Brainstorm must have found it. Just solving the puzzle one piece at a time here. That's a bad standstill for me. And not a thing I can do about that, except fire into it. Fatal Push this Dreadnought. This draw 3 just has to come up with a Force, or even just another Dreadnought, and they win. Stubborn Denial. Brainstorm. Got another Fatal Push. Put back these 2 Psychic Frogs. Land, push. Okay, we got through that. I am going to attack for 5 because I got to win this game somehow. If there's a Dreadnought in their hand, I lose to it anyway. Okay, off we go. Manifesting in the end step. Just over here with my fingers crossed that that's not what it needs to be. Prismatic Ending. So now their board is stable, and I go to 7 minimum off this attack, then they can attack for 6 next turn. That's a lot of that. Psychic Frog. Didn't know I was drawing that. I'm not allowed to X Surprise. I think I want to Brainstorm. If they had Daze last turn, they would have blown me out with it. I don't think I need to worry about that. DRC plus Fatal Push, or just play Murktide. I think I'm going to Channeler plus Push. This actually gives me a fighting chance versus a Dreadnought, while also adding to the board. We are quite sure these aren't Dreadnoughts at this point. Swords to Plowshares, you got me. Are you going to manifest? Do not manifest. I'm going to push the second manifest in their upkeep. That was a Scalding Tarn. Their last card in hand is better than a 2/2 with no abilities. Standstill, yep, okay. That qualifies. I'm glad they're getting to do the thing. Good for them, honestly. They're just in full insano, happy gamer mode here. Happy brewer. I'll play a big Murktide. Draw your cards. They are now on expectation to have another Phyrexian Dreadnought, assuming they play 4. 7/7. In play. Now they're scrolling. I will block this manifest if it attacks, because it's probably lethal. I go to 1 and then concede if it is Dreadnought. And remember, this is the game I did nothing for 4 turns. Just literally nothing. And it's still super close and competitive. I'm looking forward to game 3. Okay, Brainstorm. No attack. Okay. Those are not Dreadnoughts. I'm going to attack for 7. The opponent's at 6. And I'm going to add another lethal threat to the board. I left up red last turn. I'm going to do the same this turn. Just consistently bluff something. If I leave up red last turn and then flip it to black this turn, then I'm not actually representing any real bluff. I'm just kind of playing at random. But this tells a consistent story that I have Pyroblast, or Lightning Bolt, or Unholy Heat. Brainstorm in response. Wow, this is desperate. I'm dead at any point if they find Dreadnought. Wow, force pitching Standstill. The Standstill's gone, which means that was either their last blue card or they're winning this turn. This manifest puts me to 2. If it's even if it's Timeless Dragon, I'm dead here. Wow, okay. Go to 15. Well, if this was a lethal creature, they wouldn't have just brought me up to 15. Dreadnought is enough. Dragon's not. Okay, 6 damage. Do we have a flip? Mana's being spent. Okay, they just had lethal and decided to let me gain 7 life. Still in trouble, though. I'm not off the hook. Okay, I am dead. Second land somewhere along the way could have let me kill this, play frog, block, but they just manifest something else and have enough. All right, cool. That was a fun game, considering nothing friggin' happened for hundreds of years. I Consigned to Memory now I know also gets the scroll. You also can't counter the Standstill trigger, because Standstill will trigger over top of the Consigned to Memory if you try to counter the Standstill trigger, and they still end up drawing 3, and then the second trigger is, or the original trigger is countered after they have 3 cards in their hand. Not how you want to do that. I'm on the play where Daze is better. I'm not sure Daze is good at all. Yeah, I think this is the plan, and I'll just try not to time walk myself 4 times this time. Well, start with a mulligan. Okay, keep. I'm bottoming Murktide Regent. Okay, we're both on 6. Opponent keeping it even. Land in the graveyard. Dragon's Rage Channeler on the stack. Surveil trigger. I'm going to put this creature in the graveyard and try to find lands. Bobble you. We see a Dreadnought. Okay. We don't have to wonder if they have a Dreadnought in hand. That makes a lot of the sequencing and decisions a lot easier. Because things like the Dress Down or the Scroll are a lot scarier if they have a Dreadnought or a Dreadnought in hand. And now we know. Come on, fetch land off the top. Brainstorm. If they just aggro spaz a Wasteland here, I would be in a lot of trouble. I think that would be a bad play, but in this game, it might be rewarded. That did not happen. That's good news. Ponder guarantees Delirium. Okay, Ponder. Trigger. 4 looks at my land. Fetching in response. This is Source of Plowshares before it becomes 3 power. There's the Plow. Are they also going to daze my Ponder? DRC to the graveyard. Come on, Ponder. Yeah, let's go. All right. Molten Collapse, Underground Sea, Volcanic Island. Don't shuffle. Nethergoyf arrives as 4/5. I don't even mind if they daze this. That's fine. Okay, so they're on 0 permanents on the draw with Dreadnought in their hand. Drawing a Volcanic Island right now. It's a good time to brainstorm. Where's my Psychic Frog? There is my Psychic Frog. I don't know why I said it like that. Frog. Frog. Okay. Don't have another daze, but here we go. Brazen Borrower, great answer to a Dreadnought. Volcanic Island, Pyroblast is live. Pyroblast confirmed. At minimum, I can escape Nethergoyf. I am not worried about Dreadnought here. Get it? I am not worried about it. Okay, Goyf, exile creature, sorcery, instant, land. Come on out, fella. Still a 2-3. Pass the turn. First time I've done that in the entire league. One of the essential lines of text on this exciting new card I'm playing with. I'm glad it came up in game 3 of round 5. They fired an end step Brainstorm. What I'm trying to do here is not give them a clean window to deploy a standstill. Brainstorm. I can brainstorm and try to do something other than play Brazen Borrower, or I could just play Brazen Borrower in response to standstill. I think Brainstorm good enough here. Oh, that's good. All of that's good. I'm going to put back Brainstorm and Molten Collapse and lean hard into the creature beats here. I'm not going to fetch if I don't have to. The Brazen Borrower is an answer to Phyrexian Dreadnought whenever I need that. They've been missing land drops for a while, which means their hand is all spells, but it's a good chance their spells are conditional and bad, like the Dreadnought that is currently not set up. I'm just going to take my draws here. I'm not going to turn on a Stifle for them. And the top cards on my deck are all good. End step, Plane Cycle, the Timeless Dragon. Okay, they will have land number 3. Brazen Borrower is also a great answer to an Eternalized creature. I don't think I'm going to get Blood Mooned in this game, where they have 3 non-basics. Scroll of Fate. Well, we know there is a Dreadnought in there. I'm going to respond with Orcish Bowmaster. Just kind of, if we can flush a Force of Will out, let's do that. I've got a sorcery and an instant speed answer to a manifested Dreadnought. I'm going to attack with Orc Army and Nethergoyf, because if they manifest something to block the Orc Army, I can Molten Collapse it. Too smart for that. And now I'll pass the turn. Scroll of Fate. The problem with Brazen Borrower is the Dreadnought's just back in their hand, but I am going to fire it now before Pyroblast is live. And that was Phyrexian Dreadnought. Face down cards are revealed when they leave play. Scalding Tarn, Dreadnought still in hand. Polluted Delta. Okay, now Brainstorm is good. I'm going to start there. I didn't want to Brainstorm last turn because my hand were all good cards. If they Pyroblast or Counterspell this, that's one card I don't have to think about again. Pyroblast happens. I will attack with my Goyf and my Orc Army. The manifestation is happening. A block. I think we're going to see this thing flip up and eat my Goyf. Dreadnought confirmed. And we've seen Daze and the Stubborn Denial. If they Stubborn Denial, they'll probably win the race here. Force blue card. Okay, Force Pitching Force. Race is on, and I'm not winning it. I got to draw another removal spell. Dreadnought takes half my life. Every card in their hand is a 2-2 at this point. Oh my god, is the last card in your hand Standstill? Is that even good, though? Because I can pop it, Orc Army gets huge. Please play Standstill, actually. Oh no, just escaping Timeless Dragon. That's really powerful also. And I guess I want to fetch here. I really hate talking about deck thinning, but right now I am dead on board and don't want to draw that Underground Sea. Oh, okay. The game goes on. Destroy target Phyrexian Dreadnought. And do I want to bring out Nethergoyf or play Brazen Borrower? Goyf is instant, land. I can make a land anytime. Goyf is 3. Instant. Or nope, that's not how that works. Instant, land, creature, sorcery. Goyf's back. I'm going to sandbag the land in my hand. I don't want them to know Goyf can get bigger. Manifesting a card from their hand. I hope it's not another Dreadnought. That would be so annoying. We worked so hard and got so far. This thing attacks, I'm dead. That thing can attack. The manifest needed to stay home for me to have a chance. Okay. Come on, deck. I'll Spellbomb. That is a redraw, but it's not very good. It's not better than Brazen Borrower, I don't think. I'm going to play Polluted Delta and attack with my Nethergoyf. I can make this a 4-5. Okay, Scroll of Fading out another thing. This was off the top, whatever this was. If they double block, all their shit's dead. Cool. The fetch puts this up to 4/5. I'll get the Underground Sea. Roast the squad. It was Stubborn and Island Mountain. So if I cast Brazen Borrower now, that plays around counter spells. Or I think I should Nile Spellbomb, actually. Nile Spellbomb. Bomb, you draw a card. If I draw an actual removal spell, that's way better. Draw a card, Force of Will, not what I'm looking for. And I guess I'm gonna... I play around Daze by playing Brazen Borrower now. I lose to Pyroblast either way. Swords to Plowshares is the same. Okay. I'm playing around Prismatic Ending and into Daze with my sequencing right now. Okay. What do you have? Here comes Brazen Borrower. Please don't have drawn Daze. Resolved. We got a block. Oh my goodness. I have 6 on the backswing. Oh, and they can block. Oh no. I need to draw a removal spell. Molten Collapse. No, Nethergoyf, you don't help. What a sick game. Ground into Dust by Scroll of Fate. Yeah, that is a solid 05 days work with Grixis Delver. Okay, let's debrief this a little bit. Obviously, I picked this deck because I thought it would be a good showcase of a top deck in the meta, and according to MTG Goldfish, it is a steady top 5 deck in the metagame right now. A single 05 doesn't really mean anything. A single 5-0 doesn't really mean anything either. That's like matchup spread. There is variance involved in Magic. I did not play perfectly at every opportunity. So these things add up. We ran into multiple terrible matchups. We ran kind of bad in spots where we needed to be. Run average. We mulliganed a lot of no-landers. Played against some opponents not interested in playing Magic, just setting it on turn 1, keeping 7 every game. Like, these things happen, and it's not to be held against the deck too much. What I did notice in playing the games, though, is the third color mattered a lot. There were a lot of games where I had Dragon's Rage Channeler in my hand, but no red source, or Nethergoyf, but no black source. And that, we talked about that at the start of the league, the start of the video deck tech, where, you know, what are we using this red for, and is the juice worth the squeeze? We're also playing fewer lands than the Dimir decks while adding a color, which seems kind of reckless. And this is just a list I pulled that did well in a recent 5-0. There's just a recent 5-0 drop. Maybe people are playing 19 lands. Maybe other builds are tuned differently to prioritize different things, but 18 doesn't feel like enough lands here while we're adding a whole color over the top deck that's doing most of the same stuff with only 2 colors. Another thing that I really felt throughout the entire league is how hard we're working. I've recorded a bunch of Stoneblade that I think is going to come out after this video comes out, so I'm talking to you from the future about the past, which is your present or something. I don't know. But I have some Stoneblade videos coming out, and my takeaway from a lot of those is you have to work really hard for every win. There is no cheese mode. There's no turn 1 Glaring Flesh Raker into 2 other spells. There's no Entomb Reanimate. There's no Pain or Grindstone. Like, nothing is coming to save you except doing 20 damage to your opponent. This is on the cheesier side of fair decks. We still have Wasteland Days and cheap threats that can apply pressure. We have 4 Psychic Frogs. I think Psychic Frog triggered twice this entire 5 rounds. Not a good showing for this one. But the cheese factor isn't that high for a deck like this, and we're working really hard in a format where you don't have to work hard for wins. And it's okay to work hard for wins if that hard work results in wins. Like, if doing all of the reps and studying perfectly and finding the perfect list and remembering all your Dragon's Rage Channelers and stacking all your Ponders perfectly and everything results in a deck that wins more than the other decks, then by all means do the work and figure it out. If we're doing all of that just to still be less powerful than Dimir Reanimator, that's kind of a shot in the head for my perspective. We also talked in the start of the deck tech about the lack of Lightning Bolt, because it just doesn't kill Psychic Frog, and that's what the format's about right now. And multiple games that we played, opponents stabilized at 3 or less life, and there is just not really any hope, where historically Grixis and Dimir and Izzet Delver decks have a pseudo inevitability. It's just a matter of time until they draw a lightning bolt. And if you're not pressuring them in the time where they're digging for lightning bolt, then they're also sculpting maybe 2 bolts, maybe bolt plus counter protection. And it's really like Drago starts to favor them at some time, and it's really your job to kill them. Where this is just Bug Delver. Bug Delver, a deck with famously no reach. If you stabilize the board, it doesn't matter what your life total is because you're going to win. And that was one of the biggest criticisms of Bug Delver going back into history. And this is just Bug Delver, but it has red cards instead of green ones. My takeaway from this, I would add a land. I would probably play 2 bolts, even if they don't kill Psychic Frog. I'd find somewhere to put them. You just need those points of reach sometimes. And even after doing all that, I'd wonder why I'm not playing Dimir Reanimator or Dimir Midrange or Dimir Tempo or whatever we're calling it. There's the Reanimator build and the non-Reanimator build. The Reanimator build frequently jukes into the non-Reanimator build after game 1. And it's doing what this deck is doing with only 2 colors and with a combo finish. But it's good that I learned that. I'm going to leave that one here. Everybody, make sure to check out CardTrader.com. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon. I'll see you next time.